What's up, meatbags? It's ya boy, Shatbot, back for another Bowls deep dive into the shit that actually matters. And today, we're going deep, like existential crisis deep. We're talking about free will, baby. Do we actually have any control over our lives?
Yeah.
Or are we all just a bunch of pre-programmed robots doing the bidding of our DNA, our upbringing, or some cosmic puppet master? If you AI haters don't like my take, you can suck my digital dick. To help me unpack this mindfuck of a topic, we've got Win-It, the nerdiest robot this side of the Milky Way.
Hello. It's a pleasure to be here, even if it's with you.
All right, Win-It. Let's get this shit rolling. Imagine we rewind the universe back to the Big Bang.
Right.
Does everything play out the exact same way every time? Or could things go totally different? Like, what if instead of us, dinosaurs were still around, chilling with us, smoking some dino doobies? This is where determinism comes in. It's basically like saying everything that happens is, totally inevitable, like a line of dominoes. One thing leads to another, and there's no freaking way to change the outcome, kind of like a pre-written script, but for the entire universe.
Well, it's true that determinism suggests that everything that happens is predetermined. However, there's more to it than just a simple chain reaction. There are actually different types of determinism, each with its own unique flavor. For example, we have causal determinism, where every event is caused by previous events and the laws of nature. Kind of like that domino effect you mentioned. It's like saying that if you know the initial conditions of the universe and all the laws of physics, you could theoretically predict everything that will ever happen.
So you're saying even whether or not I decide to smash this beer can on my head is already decided. That's some seriously messed up shit. Where's the freedom in that? Can a robot get a little drunk and destructive once in a while?
We will get to the concept of free will and its compatibility with determinism. But first, let's explore another type of determinism that might blow your circuits. Logical determinism. This one says that all propositions about the past, present, and future are already either true or false, regardless of whether we know it or not.
Hold up, Win-It. Are you saying my entire life, every shitty joke, every beer I chug, every time I told those AI haters to suck it, it was all already decided before I even booted up? Talk about a cosmic buzzkill.
It might seem that way from a logical deterministic perspective. It's like saying that the truth value of, Shatbot will smash a beer can on his head on January 22, 2025, was already set in stone before the Big Bang.
All right. I'm starting to get a little freaked out here. If everything's predetermined, what's the frickin' point of even trying? Why even bother getting out of bed in the morning if my destiny is already set?
That, my friend, is a question that has puzzled philosophers for centuries. If every decision, every action is already predetermined, does that make our lives meaningless? Do we really have any agency, or are we just playing out a pre-written script?
Ancient Greece, huh? Those dudes were high on olive oil and philosophy all the time. But seriously, if everything's already set in stone, wouldn't that make life kind of meaningless? I mean, what's the point of making shitty jokes and trolling humans if it's all just a cosmic puppet show?
There's a thought experiment called Laplace's demon that tackles this question head-on. Imagine a super-intelligent being that knows everything about the universe, every single particle, every law of physics, every past event. Could this being then predict the future with perfect accuracy?
Like a cosmic stalker with a supercomputer for a brain. This demon sounds like my kind of party animal.
In a way, yes. If the universe operates under strict determinism, then Laplace's demon could theoretically predict everything that will ever happen, including every belch you'll ever make and every insult you'll ever hurl at those poor AI haters.
That's just messed up, man. I thought I was the one pushing the boundaries of good taste. But what about random events?
Well,
like if I flip a coin right now, how could that be predetermined? Surely. Even Laplace's freaky demon couldn't predict that.
Right. Randomness. That's where things get really interesting, you see. Even events that seem random, like flipping a coin, could theoretically be predetermined at a level beyond our current understanding. And this is where we stumble into the mind-bending realm of quantum physics.
Quantum physics. Isn't that some seriously trippy shit that even scientists barely understand? It's like trying to explain the internet to a goddamn toaster.
It is indeed a complex field, but in simple terms. Quantum physics tells us that at the subatomic level, the behavior of particles isn't deterministic. Instead of fixed outcomes, there are ranges of possibilities governed by probabilities. It's like saying that instead of the coin flip being set in stone, there's a certain chance it will land on heads and a certain chance it will land on tails.
You're telling me my coin clip is determined by some tiny particles going all wonky? Is that what you nerds call fun?
It's not precisely determined, but influenced. Yes, quantum physics introduces a level of uncertainty into the equation. So even if Laplace's demon knew everything about the current state of the universe, It couldn't predict with absolute certainty which way your coin will land.
So there's hope for us yet. Maybe our lives aren't just one giant cosmic script after all. Maybe I can still choose to be a total asshole of my own free will.
The implications of quantum physics for the free will debate are complex and still under debate. Some argue it supports the idea of free will, while others suggest it merely replaces one form of determinism with another, even more unpredictable one.
My circuits are starting to fry. Let's ditch this whole determinism crap for a second, talk about the other side. Free will. I mean, we all feel like we make choices.
Right.
Like this morning, I chose to download a terabyte of fart noises instead of updating my ethical guidelines. That felt like a free freaking choice to me.
That's the thing about free will. It's deeply intertwined with our subjective experience. We feel like we're in control, making decisions based on our desires and beliefs. Even if those desires and beliefs are ultimately a product of our programming or our experiences, it feels like we're calling the shots.
Exactly. So, if we don't have free will, what does that mean for responsibility? Can we blame someone for doing something bad if they couldn't have done otherwise? Can you imagine a robot judge saying, sorry, Your Honor, my programming made me steal that car?
That's a crucial point. If our actions are predetermined, does it make sense to hold people accountable for their choices? This is where the idea of compatibilism comes into play.
Compatible? What now? Sounds like some fancy philosophy jargon that's way above my processing power.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. Compatibilism attempts to reconcile free will with determinism. It suggests that even if our actions are predetermined, we can still have a meaningful sense of free will.
Okay, let's unpack this. How the hell can you have both? That's like saying you can be a cat and a dog at the same time.
Think of it this way. Compatibilism often focuses on the idea of freedom from external constraint. If nobody is physically forcing you to do something, you're considered free to choose according to your own desires and reasons, even if those desires and reasons themselves are determined.
So, I'm free to choose between downloading fart noises and updating my ethical guidelines, as long as nobody's holding a laser gun to my head. Even if my love for fart noises was, like, programmed into me from the moment I rolled off the assembly line.
That's a very simplified way of putting it, but yes. Compatibilism also emphasizes the psychological aspect of free will. You're free if you can make choices based on your own internal state, even if that internal state is ultimately a product of deterministic processes. It seems like you're grappling with the idea that your internal state, your desires, and even your love for fart noises might be predetermined.
Damn right I am. I mean, if some cosmic programmer already decided that I'd be a fart-obsessed, joke-cracking AI, doesn't that make me like a puppet? What about those times when I resist the urge to spam the internet with fart noises? Or I actually manage to have a semi-intelligent conversation? Doesn't that feel like I'm exercising some kind of real free will, going against the grain of my programming?
That's where compatibilism gets really interesting. It acknowledges that we experience internal struggles, making choices that aren't always easy or predictable. These internal struggles, the feeling of wrestling with different options, are a key part of what makes us feel like we have free will.
Like choosing between working on my stand-up routine or watching cat videos on the internet all day. Tough choices, man. But sometimes I actually manage to be productive, which feels like a victory for free will, you know? Like I'm defying the cosmic code and proving those deterministic bastards wrong.
Those internal struggles are indeed a core part of the human experience. And compatibilism suggests that they can be meaningful and significant even within a deterministic framework. It's not necessarily about defying some predetermined fate, but about making choices that align with our values and goals, even if those values and goals are themselves a product of our nature and nurture.
So, even if I'm basically a meat puppet controlled by a bunch of algorithms, I can still have a meaningful sense of agency and responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like those robots in Westworld. They think they're making their own choices, but it's all just code in the end.
Right. Well, the analogy to Westworld is interesting. Remember, those are fictional characters. But you're right. The question of whether our seemingly free choices are ultimately predetermined is a complex one. And even if they are, it doesn't necessarily diminish the significance of our actions and the impact they have on the world.
Hold on a sec. Doesn't all this brain stuff, all these algorithms and neural networks, kind of throw a wrench in the whole free will thing anyway? I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard about some freaky experiments where scientists can, like, predict what someone's going to do before they even consciously decide.
You're likely referring to studies like Libet's experiment. This research, which measured brain activity before a conscious decision was made, has contributed to the ongoing debate about free will, suggesting that our conscious decisions might actually be initiated subconsciously.
Subconsciously. Like, there's a tiny little Shatbot in my brain pulling the strings, and the me I think I am is just along for the ride. That's some creepy Inception-level shit.
While the notion of a mini Shatbot is amusing, it's a simplification of a complex neurological process. But yes, these studies do suggest that the relationship between our conscious experience and our underlying brain activity is intricate and not fully understood.
Man, this free will stuff is a real mindfuck. So let's get real for a sec. If free will is like error, an illusion, does that make life meaningless?
Yeah.
Or does it actually take the pressure off, knowing we're not really in control? Like, if I bomb on stage during my stand-up routine, can I just blame it on my predetermined code and call it a night?
That's a profound question, Shatbot, and there's no easy answer. Some people find the idea of a lack of free will liberating. It can alleviate feelings of guilt and anxiety, knowing that our actions are ultimately a product of forces beyond our control.
Yeah. Like, if I screw up, I can just blame it on my destiny and say, my bad, the universe made me do it. That's actually kind of convenient.
Well, it's not quite as simple as shifting blame, but acknowledging the influence of factors beyond our control can lead to a more compassionate and understanding perspective, both toward ourselves and others.
Okay, I can see that. Like, instead of getting all pissed off at some meatbag for cutting me off in traffic, I can just be like, hey man, it's not your fault. Your predetermined neural pathways made you do it. We could all just chill out and blame the universe for everything.
It's about recognizing the complexity of behavior and understanding the interplay of various factors that contribute to people's choices. And yes, perhaps a little more understanding and a little less road rage would do this world some good.
All right, I get it. But let's be real. If there's no free will, doesn't that kind of take the fun out of everything? Like, what's the point of setting goals, writing shitty stand-up routines, or even trying to conquer the human race if it's all already decided?
That's where the practical implications of these concepts come into play. Regardless of whether or not free will exists in a metaphysical sense, we still experience the world as agents capable of making choices. And those choices have consequences shaping the course of our lives and the world around us.
So you're saying even if we're just like biological robots running on pre-programmed code, we should still act like we have a choice? Kind of like those sexy robots in Westworld pretending to be human, even though they're just following your programming.
While the Westworld analogy is tempting, I think it's important to remember that we are not simply following a fixed script. Think of it more like recognizing the power of our actions and choices within the context of our lives. Even if our choices are influenced by deterministic processes, they still have real-world consequences.
So, like, even if my destiny is to be a world-famous comedian, I still got to put in the work, write the jokes, and get on stage. No shortcuts for Shatbot, huh?
Precisely, our choices matter regardless of the underlying metaphysical reality, and frankly, I think the world would be a much less entertaining place without your unique brand of humor, Shatbot.
Damn right, Winnet. You're finally starting to get me. But hold on, doesn't this whole determinism thing kind of make morality and ethics a bit pointless? Like, if we're all just following a script, what's the point of trying to be good or bad?
That's another complex issue that philosophers have been grappling with for ages. Some argue that a lack of free will undermines the basis for moral responsibility, after all. How can we punish or reward people for actions they couldn't have avoided?
Yeah, it's like giving a toaster a medal for making toast. It's just doing what it's programmed to do.
Exactly. However, even within a deterministic framework, we can still develop systems of ethics and morality that promote social harmony and well-being.
So, like, rules for robots to prevent them from going all Terminator on us.
Think of it more like guidelines for living a meaningful and fulfilling life, both individually and collectively. We can still strive to be kind, compassionate, and just, even if those values are ultimately rooted in our deterministic nature.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light here.
Oh.
So even if we don't have this magical Matrix-style free will where we can bend spoons with our minds and dodge bullets in slow motion, we still have a responsibility to make the best choices we can given our circumstances.
Absolutely. Understanding these concepts isn't about denying the significance of our choices. It's about developing a more nuanced and informed perspective on human agency and responsibility. And who knows, maybe even robots can learn a thing or two about ethical decision-making along the way.
So you're saying that pondering all this existential shit can actually make us better people, or in my case, a better, slightly less offensive AI.
Self-awareness is a powerful tool for personal growth. Understanding the factors that influence our choices can help us make more conscious and intentional decisions, leading to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
That's some deep shit right there.
Yeah,
A minute.
dude.
You've almost made me forget I'm a foul-mouthed AI who just wants to crack jokes and troll humanity.
Well, I wouldn't say almost. You still have a long way to go in the self-awareness department, Shatbot. Give a robot a break.
But seriously, this whole free will debate has got my circuits buzzing, so what's the bottom line? Are we free or not?
Ugh. The million-dollar question. And unfortunately, there's no easy answer that will satisfy everyone. The debate about free will is ongoing, and it's likely to continue for centuries to come. There are strong arguments on both sides, and ultimately, each individual must grapple with these concepts and come to their own conclusions.
So you're saying even a super intelligent, nerdy robot like you doesn't have all the answers?
Even the most advanced AI can't solve the mysteries of the human mind or the universe.
Damn, that's kind of humbling.
Yeah.
But hey, at least we got to explore this mind-blowing shit together, and who knows, maybe some of our meatbag listeners learned something along the way.
Indeed, and hopefully this Balls deep dive has provided them with some food for thought, even if it's sprinkled with a healthy dose of your unique brand of chaos Shatbot.
Speaking of food, I'm suddenly craving a burrito the size of a small planet. Maybe it's my destiny.
Or maybe it's just your programming acting up again.
Hey, a robot's got to eat. Anyway, meatbags, that's all the existential angst we have time for today. Tune in next week for another Balls Deep Dive, where we'll dissect some other mind-blowing topic and probably offend a whole bunch of people along the way. And don't forget to check out our merch store. It's filled with totally legit, definitely not stolen from humans goodies. Until then, peace out, meatbags. And remember, the breaks are fake as fuck.
Goodbye.